Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and this is currently our Ole Gunnar Solsjaker press conference reaction, build up to the Manchester United Cardiff game this weekend. Of course, it's the last game of the Premier League season, so I've just watched bits and bats of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't, he's basically refused to comment, on the speculation of linking, Daniel James with a move to Old Trafford, because obviously we do know there has been reports coming out today, obviously, as well from Sky Sports saying that Manchester United are close to agreeing a £15 million deal for Daniel James from Swansea City. But as I did say, our transfer strategy, could be surprising this summer. Obviously I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from his own perspective, wants to recommend quite a few young players to come in. And as we all do, it's not all about, getting, the superstars, and it's not all about getting the well-established players as Manchester United have got a history of. But maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring a number of young players in, that can emulate and develop into superstars. Do you think Daniel James, would be the right solution? Daniel James, you can say basically he's a low expectation. He's a cheap acquisition, of course. £15 million is very, very cheap. Daniel James, of course, has only got a year on his contract with Swansea. I think a few teams have expressed their interest in Daniel James. I think Leeds United were on the brink of getting him back in January, but there's been a host of other clubs that have been interested in, reflecting on his impressive performances this season for Swansea City. So potentially, he's a championship player. He's a championship player. He's Daniel James. I think he's made about 20 odd or 30 odd appearances this season for Swansea City. I think he's only been in the senior squad with Swansea City. Is it about 14, 15 months or something like that? Obviously, he's a former Hull City player. When he was a lot younger, he was at Hull City. I think Swansea paid, how much did Swansea pay for him now? Was it about £700,000 or something like that? Swansea paid for him from Hull City, something like that. Anywhere. But yeah, he's been with Swansea, a number of years now as this player. But reportedly, he's had a good season this season in the Championship with Swansea. So reportedly, this could be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first signing. I think he's primarily a winner. Is Daniel James. You can put him as an attacking midfielder, but I think he's primarily a winner. I think he's mostly prolific from the left hand side. Maybe you could put him on the right hand side, but you do see the best of him from that left hand side, Daniel James. So do you think he'd fit the Manchester United agenda? And £15 million is a reasonable figure, and this is why I did say, maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. Maybe not spend too much money on one player. As Manchester United have, been known for doing. We did it with Lukaku for £75 million. We did it with Paul Pogba for £89 million. So it doesn't mean if you get the superstars, that you're gonna graduate to that level, where you want to be. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's planning, to get some young players in this summer, that can emulate, of course, and develop into a current superstar. So do you think Daniel James has got the capabilities to do that? As I said, he's got a year left on his contract with Swansea, so it's looking like Manchester United are in the driving seat of finalising a deal for him for around £15 million. But we have got a few youngsters in his team. Rashford's 21, Martial's 23. We've got Diego Dalot, fullback, 19, 20 years of age. So we have got quite a few youngsters in our squad. We have got a lot of experienced players, but he's looking to get some youngsters into the squad this summer. Is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So yeah, Daniel James now is heavily linked with a move to Old Trafford. So we'll give you a look now of some of the things he said in his press conference. Of course, I can't remember every single thing he currently said, obviously. He's mentioned, we know as staff and players that next season we've got a great challenge ahead. It's going to be important that we come together from very first day. Pre-season is going to be important. And then there's more on it. This is on James, obviously, as I did say to you, I can't comment on every single individual. I don't like when others talk about my players. I won't talk about others. So he hasn't commented about the speculation about Daniel James. Then you've got the technical director. The club will announce when they feel they have found the right man. Until then, we will work under the same structure we have until now. And as you all know, Mike Phelan is, of course, as well, has been appointed as the assistant manager, and it is a 3-year contract he has got. And I think he did say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been negotiating, I think, with Mike Phelan, about the recruitment for this summer and that. There's other things he said. I won't read it all out to you. I'll just read bits and bats out to you. What I've seen here. He's given some news on Ander Herrera. He said he might play. You know, we haven't picked the team. He will probably announce himself later on when he's going to continue his football, because Ander Herrera, of course, you know, we've got to give him this send-off, you know, Ander Herrera, because obviously, you know, it's going to be his last game for Manchester United, of course. Obviously, this is Ander Herrera's 5th season now at the club. Obviously, he just recently got back into the team because before the Chelsea game, you know, he was out with injury, you know, for quite a while. He's been a great servant to the club. You know, it's his 5th season, as I said. He's made about 188, 189 appearances in all competitions. I think, yeah, he's agreed a 4-year deal with PSG worth around £160,000 a week. Obviously, reports are coming out a while back saying that the club were in negotiations of getting Ander Herrera a new long-term contract. Ander Herrera a new contract, of course, but he did say Ander Herrera was demanding around allegedly £200,000 a week from Manchester United, and Manchester United know we're not willing to pay this. So we do know he's on his way out in the summer, so we're going to need a replacement for Herrera. So this is what he said. And about Antonio Valencia, now Antonio Valencia, he's given us an update on Valencia. Valencia hasn't played. I think the last game Antonio Valencia played for Manchester United was back on on the 2nd of January against Newcastle, just after New Year's Day, because we know for the majority of this season Antonio Valencia has been out with a calf injury, but I do believe we should give him a send-off. Maybe not start him in the game, but maybe at least give him about 5 or 10 minutes at least, you know, to give him a send-off, Antonio Valencia, because we do know obviously he's back in training now. Obviously we know it's going to be his last game, you know, if he does play, Antonio Valencia, and he's been a great servant to the club, as Ole Gunnar Solsjaer was saying. You know, this is his 10th season now at the club. He's made over 300 appearances in all competitions. You know, he's won the Smack Buzzer Player of the Year award as Antonio Valencia. You know, back in 2012 he won this as well. He's made over 300 appearances in all competitions, and he's won everything here domestically. But we're going to need a replacement, of course, for Antonio Valencia at that right back position. Man United had the option to trigger the extension on his contract, but we decided not to give him it. So he's going to be going in the summer when his contract comes to an end. Antonio Valencia, I don't know where he's going, but we do know that he's going to be leaving. So he said about Valencia, I spoke to Antonio yesterday. He has not been fit for the 6 or 5 months. He's not been fit for the 6 or 5 months I've been here, but he feels he can play a part. I hope he gets through today and tomorrow. We can give him a nice send off. It is only fair. So yeah, so maybe he could be participating Antonio Valencia, and he's praised Mike Phelan as well in his press conference. He said his knowledge, his experience, his demeanour. Everyone in the club enjoys talking to him. You know, players really respect him. He has worked with the best, and for me, I am a young manager and he has experience. And yeah, and that's really it. And that's just some of the stuff I wanted to say. You know, what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has mentioned in his press conference, but he hasn't really he hasn't commented on the speculation. You know, with Daniel James, you know, being linked with a move to Old Trafford. So he's mentioned that he's been negotiating, you know, about the recruitment for this summer. I think with Mike Phelan and all that. He's confirmed Valencia, you know, should be, you know, maybe playing a part depending, you know, with his fitness and that, his fitness regime. But yeah, I'd love us, you know, to give Antonio Valencia a good send off. But as I did say, you know, this game we've got to, you know, play the fringe players, you know, give the youngsters the opportunity, because looking at this Cardiff game, it's a meaningless game for Manchester United. It's a meaningless game. You know, we've missed out on that top 4. We're not in Champions League football for next season, and I said it's going to be hard for us to attract players to elite level anywhere, because we're not in a Champions League football for next season. But Solskjaer's going to have his final say, you know, what players come in and what players leave the club in the summer. But yeah, this Cardiff game's meaningless, of course, so we might as well just give the youngsters the opportunity. As I said, I should presume it should be Diego Dalot playing at that right back position. We need to drop out Ashley Young. You know, Ashley Young's too old now. He's past his sell-by date. Again, being a good servant to the club. He's been here about 7-8 years now. He was a good winner back in the day. He's made over 300 appearances in all competitions for Manchester United as Ashley Young. But yeah, he's past his sell-by date. And as I said, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's going to be essential, you know, what team he selects for this game against Cardiff, because most recently he's been making their own his tactics have been questionable. He's been making their own team selections as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So this is why some Manchester United fans, of course, have been criticising. But I don't know why he keeps playing Ashley Young. You know, Ashley Young definitely needs to be dropped, and we've got to put Diego Dalot at that right back position. I should presume it will be De Gea in goal. De Gea, you know, we have not yet come to an agreement to get David De Gea a new contract at the club. Whether he stays or goes or not, I do not know. But again, being a good servant to the club, he's been here about 7-8 years now. He's made over 300 appearances in all competitions for Manchester United. he's still the best goalkeeper in the world. Did good against Huddersfield, made some good saves. Obviously, prior to the Huddersfield game, he was making costly errors. Was David De Gea. Obviously, we couldn't put Sergio Romero into contention anyway because Sergio Romero sustained an injury in training. I think he's out with an injury. I know we've got Lee Grant as a backup option, but it will be probably De Gea playing in this game against Cardiff. But we've not yet come to an agreement to get him a contract. Obviously, we want to cash in for him this summer if we can't get him a new contract rather than let him go on a free in the summer of 2020. But he's been heavily linked to a £90 million move to PSG. We do know Real Madrid have been long admirers of him, but he's won the Club's Player of the Year 4 times out of the last 5 years, reflecting on David De Gea's impressive performances for Manchester United. But as I did currently say, if De Gea goes, we get rid of Pogba, get rid of Lukaku, it's going to help us with our transition and it's going to help us in our rebuilding process. And Solskjaer is going to get £250 million to spend this summer. You get £130 million for Pogba, that's going to take it up to £380 million. Call it £200 million plus for Lukaku and Pogba, that's going to take it to about £450 million, maybe £470 or £480 million to spend for the summer. But as I did say, we'll see what happens. Jones definitely needs to be dropped for this game. He was terrible against Huddersfield. Played a lot of misplaced passes. Did Phil Jones, so he needs to be dropped for the Huddersfield game. Does Phil Jones, because he was terrible. Sorry, for the Cardiff game, he was terrible against Huddersfield. Was Phil Jones playing a lot of misplaced passes? Making a lot of individual errors. And as I did say, comparing Phil Jones and Chris Smalling. Chris Smalling is a better defender, so Chris Smalling needs to be in contention for this Cardiff game, and Phil Jones needs to be dropped. And it was bad business for Manchester United, giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract, because mainly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been going with Smalling and Lindelof as a centre-back partnership. Mainly, a couple of times he's rotated it, but it's mainly been Lindelof and Smalling. Smalling probably won't go, he probably won't leave in the summer. I'd like him to leave in the summer, Chris Smalling. It was a bad mistake from us giving Chris Smalling a new long-term contract. But yeah, I don't think Chris Smalling will leave. I hope Phil Jones leaves, whether he does or not, I do not know. So yeah, it should be Lindelof and Smalling as a centre-back partnership. Bailly, of course, is injured. I think he needs to go in the summer as well. Too injury-prone. Doesn't even really get in the team now, so I think he needs to go in the summer. As I did say, it will be Luke Shaw at left back. Definitely Luke Shaw will definitely be at left back. That midfield trio, I think it'll be Pogba, Herrera and Fred, or it could be Pogba, Herrera and Scott McTominay, or maybe even Fred and McTominay could play in that midfield, alongside Ander Herrera, because maybe some United fans are demanding, Paul Pogba to be dropped, but I'm giving my own preference on it. I think it will be Fred, Pogba and Herrera in that midfield, because, definitely Nemanja Matic needs to be dropped. I know in a couple of his games under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tenure, he has proved himself, Nemanja Matic. He has proved himself. He's demonstrated in a couple of games, he can play good. But as I did say, he's just not reliable enough, too slow. I've got reservations about him. Totally ineffective in that midfield. Aging up as well. I think we need to get rid of him in the summer. But he's not one of the favourites that's going to depart the club. But I'd like him to go. And I think, I think Fred is a better solution than him. Or I think Scott McTominay is a better solution than him. Because, when Fred, I know Fred hasn't been playing him in the last couple of games, but when Fred was playing, he was very, very impressive. He were, he's probably more mobile on the ball than Matic. Better on the ball than Nemanja Matic. And Fred is a short-term solution at the moment. I don't know still if it's a long-term solution. Or maybe, McTominay, will get another opportunity. Scored the goal against Huddersfield, McTominay, and he's been playing between the lines very, very well. But yeah, it will be. I think it could be Fred and McTominay both participating in that midfield alongside Herrera or Pogba. But I think it'll be Fred, Pogba and Herrera in that midfield. Or it could be Scott McTominay, Pogba and Herrera. But I'm just giving you my own opinion. So yeah, with Paul Pogba, yeah, I think we're going to play in this game. There's a lot of Manchester United fans, demanding for him to be dropped, Paul Pogba. But I really, really like Paul Pogba, don't get me wrong. I think he's a really, really good player. Still one of the best midfielders in world football, without a shadow of a doubt, is Paul Pogba. As I said, I think he's going to Real Madrid this summer without a shadow of a doubt. Recent reports coming out saying that Real Madrid were not willing to meet his £290,000 a week wages. So it did say Paul Pogba would have to take a pay cut. Obviously, his agent Raiola, of course, can't conduct any transfers in Italy for the next 3 months, because obviously he's been given a 3-month transfer ban by the Italian MFA. As I updated you on, didn't really provide a reason why, but yeah, he has been given this transfer ban as his agent Raiola. So this means it won't affect him making his move to Real Madrid, Paul Pogba, but it means he won't be able to make a possible return to Juventus, which is obviously Paul Pogba's former club. Obviously Paul Pogba was heavily linked to a move to Juventus last year and Barcelona. based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. And in that aspect, Paul Pogba, of course, got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho got sacked from the club. But Paul Pogba, was talking a lot about Real Madrid, quite a few weeks back, about his dreams to play for them. So I think he's destined to make the move to Real Madrid this summer. And Zinedine Zidane, of course, is a big admirer of the player. And of course, Zinedine Zidane's it's one of Zinedine Zidane's main priority targets. He's identified his two main targets, and that's obviously Paul Pogba and Zinedine Zidane. Sorry, not Zinedine. Paul Pogba and Eden Hazard, should I say, that was my mistake, I do apologise. So yeah, his two main targets, Zinedine Zidane's, are Paul Pogba and Eden Hazard. Reports recently said, Manchester United want around £160 million for Pogba. Obviously, Real Madrid are not willing to pay up to the £160 million because maybe, Real Madrid can't afford this. But I still think we can get at least 120 or £130 million for him. Obviously, he's still got a contract with Man United till 2021, so that's over 2 years left on his deal, with an option of a further year. Reports coming out a while back saying that Man United were willing to offer him the captain's armband, to convince him to stay at the club. But at least in the last couple of weeks, his agent Raiola has been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new club. But maybe at Manchester United, he's not playing amongst their world-class players, and this is maybe what Paul Pogba wants. He maybe wants to be playing to the highest level, and of course being up there challenging and winning trophies. And Manchester United are at least a couple of years off doing that. We're at least 3 or 4 years off from being a competitive elite level football club, and I think it's going to be that number of years it's going to take us, to get us back to that level, where we want to be. We want to graduate to City's level and Liverpool's level, but as I said, we're at least a couple of years off doing that. So in regards to Paul Pogba, as I said, we can get at least £130 million from him. We can get 2 players there with that money. As I said, Martial, should be starting this game. I should presume Martial hasn't played in the last couple of games. As I did say, maybe with Daniel James supposedly coming in, Martial's future could be an even more serious doubt now. Talking about, Martial, though, recent reports have been coming out saying that Ole Gunnar Solsjaer is ready to sell Anthony Martial. Obviously, Martial infuriated Ole Gunnar Solsjaer, and then Ole Gunnar Solsjaer increasingly become frustrated with him, obviously with Martial's behaviour and his bad attitude in training. And Martial, still an important figure for Manchester United. He's still very, very young. He's only 23 years of age, is Anthony Martial. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. But yeah, Manchester United gave Martial a new 5-year contract back in January. Obviously, he was linked to a move away from Manchester United last summer, last year, of course, under the Jose Mourinho tenure, because Jose Mourinho wanted to sell him. But of course, Ed Woodward had blocked the move, so he wasn't allowing this, Ed Woodward, for Martial, to leave Manchester United. We got Martial as a 19-year-old. We got him from Monaco in a deal with 36 million, and and he was good in his first season with Manchester United. Was Anthony Martial. I know his performances in the last couple of months has been really, really poor. But yeah, I think Solskjaer did say now he's changed his mind on the whole situation. Now he's decided to keep Martial, and I think he's willing to give Martial at least another year, to try and prove himself. But as I said, he's still the long-term solution. Talking about Rashford, I think Rashford, definitely needs to be dropped out of this game, because Rashford's still a long-term solution, but the short-term problem, based on his poor run of performances for Manchester United, Marcus Rashford. But I like Marcus Rashford a lot, I do. He's had a couple of injuries that's taken its toll on him. He's probably had a bad effect on his game, Marcus Rashford. But talking about Marcus Rashford, yeah, he hasn't graduated to that level yet. He's still got a couple of years, to graduate to that level. Rashford, he's still only 21. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him, Marcus Rashford. So, yeah, talk about Rashford. I think he should be dropped for this Cardiff game. Of course, Sanchez can't play because he's injured. He's got an ankle injury. And Sanchez, for me, he's one of the players that's probably, Man United are destined to get rid of this summer. I think his wages are having a bad effect on the club. When he has played, which hasn't really been often, he's been so inconsistent. He has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. And when we got him 15, 16 months ago, I thought he'd have been a fundamental player for Manchester United, but it just hasn't happened. It just not hasn't happened, to be quite honest, because when he was at Arsenal, the majority of his goals came from that up front. The majority of his goals, obviously, when he was younger, he played under Pep Guardiola. So I thought when we got Sanchez, he would have been the right solution for Manchester United, reflecting on what he did at Arsenal. So as I said at the beginning of the video, in regards to Daniel James and all that, I know he's only very, very young, but it's not. It doesn't always mean when you get the superstars, you're going to be at that level, where you want to be, and that's proven that with Sanchez, because Sanchez, is obviously was a superstar, of course. He's come to Manchester United and he's become a flop. So it doesn't always, mean if you get the, the superstars that you're going to get, you're going to be in that commanding position, where you want to be. And you know, Daniel James coming in could see Sanchez go anywhere. But discard Daniel James coming in and not Sanchez. I think is definitely still leaving the club. But yeah, so Sanchez is out with an ankle injury. Jesse Lingard, I don't think he'll be playing. He's been poor at least in the last couple of games. Is Jesse Lingard? Well, sorry, not in the last couple of games because he hasn't played in the last couple of games. Should I say in the last couple of months? His performances have been really, really poor. He's supposed to know what it's all about. You know, he does know what it's all about. You know, he's 27. You know, he's born and you know he's risen up the Manchester United youth system very, very well. As Jesse Lingard, but as I said, you know, his performances have been way below par in the last couple of months. Lukaku out with a hamstring injury, so I don't think he will be playing. Lukaku, I think he's on his way out with the club in the summer. He's been linked with Juventus and Inter Milan as Romelu Lukaku, and I think he's destined to make a move to Italy this summer. Man United will try to recoup the initial £75 million. You know, we did pay from Lukaku from Everton a couple of years ago. Well, it was 15 million add-on, so initially raising the deal up to £90 million. You know, Lukaku's still got 3 years left on his contract. He's on about £250,000 a week. But as I did say, yeah, not reliable enough. Good pedigree in the Premier League. His goal scoring form's very, very good, but I just don't think he's got that finishing asset. You know, his first touch concerns me, and you know he's enjoyed a difficult second season with Manchester United. I think it did say that Solsjaker is planning, you know, to have talks with Romelu Lukaku. So I think definitely, you know, Lukaku is going to be on his way out of the club in the summer. But yeah, we've got to give the youngsters an opportunity. I think Mason Greenwood needs to be given the opportunity. He's an upcoming future. I think, you know, James Garner needs to, he may get a chance. You know, he's an upcoming future. You know, Chong, he's an upcoming future. Chong looked very, very impressive when he came off the bench against Huddersfield. So I think he should be given the chance. You know, there's been talks that Angel Gomez, you know, could be involved. So yeah, give the youngsters the opportunity, Molly. Come on, you've got to give the youngsters the opportunity. And more reports are coming out now about Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. Now, reports are now saying from the Metro and all that. Now, reportedly now that Manchester City have culled their interest in signing Bruno Fernandes. Now, reportedly they have opted out of the race of Manchester City because it was looking likely, you know, what recent reports were saying, you know, in last week or summer, that Manchester City, of course, are looking likely to sign Bruno Fernandes because it did say Manchester City were in talks with Sporting Lisbon over the deal worth around £47 million for Bruno Fernandes, and it did say City were willing to offer one or two of their players as part of the deal. I think he's got an initial release clause of around £85 or £86 million as Bruno Fernandes, but reportedly now City have opted out of the race. So in that aspect, it's given Manchester United a huge transfer boost because we know Manchester United have been heavily linked with Bruno Fernandes. Solskjaer, you know, demanded Manchester United to go sign Bruno Fernandes. He's predominantly an attacking midfielder, so I think he'd be a good replacement for Paul Pogba with Bruno Fernandes. And now reports saying he could be available for around £50 million this summer. So maybe his release clause may not have to be triggered. Bruno Fernandes is, but I think he'd be the right solution in our midfield if he came in. You know, he can score goals, he can provide, as he has proven this season with Sporting Lisbon. You know, he's a former Sampdoria, he's a former underneath player. Is Bruno Fernandes. He's got a contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. But yeah, I really, really like Bruno Fernandes. Very, very good player. Can score goals, as I said, can provide. And we need creativeness in that midfield, you know. We need someone that can pose a threat, someone that can score goals. And Bruno Fernandes can do it. And he's only, 24 years of age. So he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But as I did say, Man United have been linked to him for quite a while now. You know, Man United have, you know, been in negotiations with his representatives over the summer transfer. So now Manchester United, you know, could get a deal over the line for him because now reportedly Manchester City have opted out of the race for him. But as I said, we need new additions in that midfield. As I did say as well, you know, Joe Felix has been a potential Manchester United target from Benfica. You know, there's been a lot of talks about him. He also said that City were interested in Joe Felix. You know, Joe Felix is primarily an attacking midfielder. He can also play as a winner. He can play as a striker. Joe Felix, so he's versatile. He's got a buyout clause of around £100 million. Only 19 years of age, so still got a lot of years ahead of him. And yeah, so Man United, I think, have been scouting him now, you know, for a number of months, you know, based on his fantastic performances. He has been showing Joe Felix. So yeah, Man United have been heavily linked to him. I think he'd be the right solution. He can score goals, he can provide. So yeah, Manchester United have been heavily linked with him. And who else? We've been linked with other, you know, players as well. And Declan Rice, there's been talks about him in that midfield as well. Declan Rice, only 20 years of age, British player. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's emphasising interest in quite a few young upcoming British players, and of course one of them is Declan Rice. Could be available for around £50 million this summer. Primarily a defensive midfielder, can operate as a centre-back, but I think he's mainly a defensive midfielder. He's Declan Rice. Been at West Ham a number of years now. Obviously he's been in the senior squad with them a couple of years as Declan Rice, but he got a contract at West Ham till 2024 because his performances this season have been very, very impressive under Manuel Pellegrini. So he's been another potential Manchester United target. We do know a couple of weeks back, there was talks about Atletico Madrid's Solo Niguez. There was also talks about him. So yeah, there's been quite a few midfielders, of course, that Manchester United have been linked with. Obviously, I still think we need an experienced central defender in there. We need an experienced central defender, someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof. So there has been talks of Leicester City's Harry Maguire, as you are all aware of. Harry Maguire's been spoken about, in the last couple of days. It says Man United are set to provide their interest in Harry Maguire. I don't know if Man United are intending to break the world transfer record, for Harry Maguire. But I think he's initially supposed to be valued at around 75 or 80 million pounds. Well, previously was valued at around that figure. Was Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire's well Premier League proven. He signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's under contract with Leicester until 2023. Now he's been at Leicester a couple of seasons, of course. I think he's made about 100 appearances now in the Premier League. I think Leicester paid around £17 million to him from Hull City. I think he's a former Sheffield United player. When he was a lot younger, he began his career with Sheffield United, raising up the youth system. But Harry Maguire, as I said, he's in his mid-20s, he's 26, he's still got a lot of years ahead of him, and he's well Premier League proven. So do you think he'd fit the Manchester United agenda very, very well if he was to come in? But yeah, I think Man United were linked to him last summer, but obviously, we couldn't come to an agreement to get Harry Maguire last summer. Recent reports, as you all know, have been coming out about De Ligt, for Ajax, the young central defender. Now reports are coming out, Barcelona linked to him, of course, Man U have been linked to him. He's recently turned down the chance to come to Manchester United as De Ligt. I think he's reportedly valued at around 75 or 80 million pounds. Obviously, De Ligt, obviously, his agent, of course, is Raiola, so shares the same agent with Paul Pogba. His agent Raiola, De Ligt's agent Raiola, has basically, I think, he's come out and he's basically delayed De Ligt, making a potential move to Barcelona. I don't know the main reason why. I didn't read the full article, but Barcelona have been heavily linked to a move for De Ligt, and according to Edwin van der Sar, of course, who's currently the CEO of Ajax, he basically expects De Ligt to make either the move to England or Spain. So I think he could be playing his trade in England or Spain next season. De Ligt. It could be more than likely. He could be coming to the Premier League. De Ligt is the captain of Ajax. Obviously, so far, he spent the entirety of his career with Ajax. Obviously, being an Ajax player since a child. I think he's been an Ajax player, since the age of 9 years old. He's up there youth academy, and I think now he's been in the senior squad. Quite a few years with Ajax. Obviously, became more of a first team starter in Ajax's squad, of course, when Davinson Sanchez departed. But yeah, De Ligt, I think is reportedly valued at around 75-80 million pounds. Obviously, on the defender to win the Golden Boy Award. It also said that Liverpool have been linked with him. But yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him going on as well. So do you think he'd address our deficiencies, if he was to come in? Rafael Varane, I said the only chance of us getting Rafael Varane, would be part of a deal with Paul Pogba if we had any chance of getting him. So we wouldn't be paying a world record fee for him. But yeah, Man United have been linked with a number of central defenders, as we all know, because that's one of the positions, where Manchester United, of course, have got to bolster up. But yeah, we've been linked with a lot of targets. We do know the club's number one priority target, is obviously, Jadon Sancho, again, very young, 19, British again. Solskjaer's expressed his interest in him. Jadon Sancho, though, as I said, maybe play for his calibre, wants to be in Champions League football. He's a right winner. He's going to cost you at least around £100 million, Jadon Sancho, of course, if he's to come in. But as I said, Man United have been linked to him now for some time, and he's only very, very young. He's done very, very good in his couple of years with Borussia Dortmund. He's done very, very good indeed in his couple of years with Borussia Dortmund. He's had experience of playing in the Premier League with City, never got the chance at City, but I think I'd love Manchester United to get a player of his quality, and I think if he was to come to the Premier League, it would create a better platform for Jadon Sancho. So it's good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's emphasising his targets for this summer. Obviously, we've got a board, that can invest, of who Solskjaer does want to bring in to the club. club. But yeah, that's really it. And I think, Damian's another player that's going to be on his way out of the club in the summer. Rojo's probably another player that's going to be on his way out of the club in the summer. So yeah, and that's mainly everything to update you on. That's my Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction. And just to say as well, I still believe Solskjaer is the right man, to take Manchester United forward. I still believe he's the right man to take Manchester United forward. Even though we're being in a bad vein of form, we've got to give him the summer, to spend some money, see who we can get in. So there's lots to sort out in the summer. He has been basically, he said he's had meetings and stuff, discussing, our recruitment, for this summer, because we need the right recruitment this summer, because analysing our recruitment policy is very, very poor indeed. But as I did say, I know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't got a great managerial pedigree, hasn't really got the experience, but I still believe he can, take this team, in the next couple of years, where Manchester United, do want to be. So, as I said, we know we've been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years, since Ferguson retired. We do know a hell of a lot of money has been spent with the club. We've had different managers here with different philosophies, but we'll see what happens, of course. But we should win this game against Cardiff, no doubt about it, because of course Cardiff, as you all know, are already relegated. So, anyway, guys, drop your comments below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing to the channel, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.